The header on your website is very important for navigation, but also for finishing the complete look of your website. And in this video right here, I will explain everything you need to know about creating headers and also how you can customize your headers on Squarespace. Over at Squarespace, you can see that the header is this section right here. It's the section that's above the first section on your website, and the header is basically the main navigation point of your entire website. And it stays the same throughout all of the different pages that you create, right? So firstly, regards to options that you have on the header, let's go through them. So first of all, you have the possibility to drag it or basically make it bigger. In this sense, you can make it bigger in regards to, let's say you have a bigger logo or you want the header to be bigger for a reason. You can do that by simply dragging this up and down. You also then have the possibility to add elements to it. You can see here that on this Squarespace website right here, I have the social links, but we can take them off if we want that. We can add a button, for example. Let's say you maybe run a consultancy agency and you want to have a book a call, or maybe you are doing a free offer or something and you want them to click on that button to go to a page where they can download a PDF or something that you might offer. That is a very good way to do it as well. If you're running e-commerce as well, you have the possibility to add a cart there as well. Let's just take them off so they're a little bit more visual. And that meaning that they can click on that cart and see what they have in their cart. If you're running a account-based Squarespace website, let's say you have a course or maybe you have like a membership website, you can have the account login icon right there. They can click login. And also if you're running multilingual, you have the possibility to choose to add that as a language switch. I actually have that on my website since I'm Norwegian, and you can see that this will be that language switch, which is multilingual. When I click on it, it's also going to go in Norwegian as well, since I also focus on that for my website. So these are basically the different elements that you can add on your Squarespace website, right? So let's just add in some of them, maybe like add in button and social links, which I think are the main ones. Then on regards to all of the different things, you will see here that you actually have the possibility to click on them, right? And do some design, add some things to it, etc., etc. For example, in regards to the button, you can change between the text, add that link that is going to take you through. I'll also show you what different options you have on the other ones as well. So let's add those in. Let's add a cart and an account. Clicking on account, you will see actually the only option you have is to remove it. In regards to cart, you can choose between the different icons. Let's say maybe we want this icon right here instead. Or if you only want the text, for example, you can do that, change the text around and this and that, make the icon bigger. You get what I mean, right? But you have a lot of different options there to actually customize these elements as well that you have on the website. But let's remove that, and then we have the social links and the buttons. Then you have the possibility to click edit design. When we click this, you can see we have some more options. First of all, you have the layout, and that's basically the layout of the header. So you see here that you have one with the logo to the left and also the navigation or pages, let's say, on the left, the pages in the middle, but the logo on the left, and also the buttons and the social things on the right, the logo in the middle, and also the logo on top and the pages underneath it. But I'm just going to keep the one that I actually like. I mean, I tend to go for a lot of them, depends on what kind of design I'm doing, but let's just go for maybe like this one with the pages in the middle and also those around it. Then you have the link spacing, and what that basically is, it's the spacing between the links, right? So you can see here that when I take it further apart, you will see that the link between the pages becomes wider, and that is based on viewports right there. So I'm just going to have that at like 1.6. I don't like to have too much space, but if that's something you like, you have the possibility to do it. Then you have element spacing. What that basically means, it's the different elements, right? On the Squarespace header, you will see that the social links actually go a little bit towards the left here when I do that, but you can also play around that with yourself. Then you have the drop shadow, and what basically that is, it's a drop shadow underneath the header, right? So when I click that and enable that, you will see that we have a little drop shadow here. It might not look best because we're running a green background, but we can actually change that around so it looks a little bit better. Let's do that. Let's change that drop shadow to maybe like a white, for example. There is more visual, and you will see that drop shadow there. That is a cool thing if you want to have that as well, and I do recommend that you might try and play a little bit around with that yourself as well if that's something you like. But you can choose between the coloring, if you want it to be soft or strong, or the spread, and also the distance and blur you can change there. Then you have the border, basically adding a border to your Squarespace website. You have the possibility to choose between the coloring, the thickness of it, the thickness of it, and also the positioning. So for example, let's say you only want to have a border underneath the header, or you want it to be all around the header, or just on top and bottom and on the sides, and maybe just on top. You have those possibilities as well. I usually don't use that much, but I've seen some use cases for it as well, and it's a very good function to have. Then you have fixed position, and what that means is it's going to make the header actually follow down as we scroll throughout the pages. And personally, I do like that look, since it gives the users interacting with the site the possibility to easily click on another page and maybe go for that CTA button that you've created, or the social links, and maybe also showcasing your logo throughout the way. So I would actually recommend having that on if you see a use case for it as well, but that is what that means. Then you have the possibility to change the fixed position style, whether or not it's going to be basic or scroll back. You can change that as well. Then again, you have the possibility to manually change the size in here. If you don't want to do it on the slider that I showed you last time, you have that possibility. And then you can also make it inset or in the full width, depending on what you want to do with your header. But usually I just keep that at full. Then finally, you have on desktop version, you have the logo and also the site title. So change that site title to your website. This is my Code Examples website where I do my YouTube tutorials. So I just call it that. Here you have the possibility to add your logo as well to your Squarespace website. You can change between the logo height as well. I just like to keep that around 50 pixels maybe. And also the mobile logo max. You can also even have a separate logo for the mobile if that's something you want. Maybe the logo doesn't fit that well on mobile, that's the one you have on web, and you want to have a different one on mobile, you can do that. I also forgot to mention something, but on the design tab, you also have a coloring option. And what that's going to do is using adaptive, what that basically is going to mean is it's going to be adaptive to the section coloring. So let's say you have an image as your background. Well, that's going to be active or basically transparent. And in this instance right here, you will see that my background is green, and that's why. But let's say, for example, we add an image to our Squarespace website. Let's just add a background image right here. Let's just choose one of them. This is a video, sorry. Let's just choose, for example, this one right here. Once that is active, you will see that it's like adaptive, right? It actually is a transparent variant of it. Now, let's say, for example, you want that to be solid. Simply just click on solid, and that gives you the possibility to add the background color, the navigation, and possibly also a opacity as well, if that's something you want. Like maybe you want this to be green as we have, but we want to have a little bit of an opacity on it. We can do that as well. And then you also have the possibility to change the navigation color. Let's say we want that to be white. We can do that very simply here as well. And we can even also blur the background if that's something we want to do. And then finally, you have a gradient. And that is basically a gradient. That is going to be gradiented from the top or down to the bottom. If that's something you'd like as well, you can play around with this. It's going to look something like that. It goes from a gradient down under here to the sort of like main image that we have in the background here. And you can play around with some different options there as well for it. But let's just keep that as is and go over to the mobile version. So on mobile, you also have some options to change the header around. You'll see you have the different layouts here as well. Maybe you want the logo in the center, you can do that. I'm just going to keep it at that, but you have some different options here you can choose between. Then you can also add a drop shadow as we had in the web version, and also a border as we had in the web version. Let's say we want a border on top, we can add that in. And also the fixed position, for example, if that's something we want on mobile as well, with the styles that we also have. Then again, the different coloring, let's say we want that to be solid, we can add that in, and that is a very great tool. On the mobile version as well, you have the possibility to view your menu. And you can also even edit this menu right here. And that is going to be the menu for the mobile version, right? And you can choose between the alignments, whether it be center, right, or left. The link spacing between the links as well, you can change. And on coloring, you can even also assign it a new coloring tab. So now let's show you some quick things on the coloring before we wrap up. You will notice here that maybe when you create your mobile navigation thing that the coloring is light off. What you then want to be doing is simply typing in overlay, which is what this is called. It's called a menu overlay. Right there, the menu overlay, and here you can also change the backgrounds to whatever you like it to be, and also the coloring for it. And the same thing also applies on the web version. Let's say you want to change the navigation coloring when you run a adaptive look for the coloring. You will see that you don't have the option to actually make this a different color, but simply what you can do then is head into colors, then choose your color theme that you use. and change between the navigation links and also the site title links. And finally, if you then want to add more pages to your header, you would do that within the pages view right here by then just creating a new page, and it will then show up in the main navigation there as well. Now, if you want to create pages that is not going to be linked to the navigation, you can simply put it under not linked, and it's not going to be linked in the header. So that was a video describing and discussing everything you need to know about the Squarespace header, all of the different options, all of the different customization options that are natively on Squarespace. If you found this video useful, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you want me to build your Squarespace website, the links are down below. And as always, have a great day.